And now back to The Morning Show.
And we're back, and you are listening to The Morning Show right here on KSVY Sonoma, 91.3 FM on the left-hand side of the dial. We're streaming around the world at ksvy.org, wherever you're tuning in from. Good morning, hello, I appreciate your ears. So on The Morning Show, we get to talk with so many folks from different spheres of our community, and I always get to learn so much. I also get to talk to a lot of my friends, because they're all interesting people too. Sorry, it's just true. I have interesting pals, and one of them's coming on right now. Please welcome to these airwaves again, John Staley. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm good, Ronnie. How are you?
Steady, Freddie. It's not too hot yet today.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's going to heat up. We got baby summer here, just before, we're just a few weeks out, but we're getting a little reminder that we got a hot one ahead.
Stay hydrated. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm really excited to have you on, John. You and I have been friends for a few years now, different professional capacities, and certainly kind of creatively, we've always kind of exchanged, kept an eye on what we're up to. And, you're a writer, a podcaster, a runner, a social media influencer. I love your social media. I mean, you've just done so much fun, great stuff. And a lot of what's woven through what you do is your journey of sobriety. And you are taking some of that expertise, some of that experience, some of your wisdom through using creative processes, and it sounds like you came up with something great to share. Tell us about it.
Yes. So,
introduce you too for people who don't know the journey.
Yeah. Well, so I got sober here in Sonoma, assuming that the world doesn't end before July 6th. I will have 9 years.
Wow.
Sober.
Congratulations, my friend.
That's been fantastic. It really has. Well, it hasn't all been fantastic.
Sure.
It's not always. The first few years were pretty rough. One of the things that has really helped me and that I learned was writing it down, writing it all down.
Mm-hmm.
I've been keeping journals for about 6 years, almost every single day for the last 6 to 7 years,
Wow.
something like that.
It's a discipline.
And I picked this up from the Artist's Way book by Julie Cameron. She talks about the morning pages.
Yes, the morning pages.
I ran with it. So after I finished that, I found that I was compelled to write every single morning.
Let's put a Post-it note on it, folks. If you haven't heard of the Artist's Way, it is a very prolific book. It's been, many people have had it in their hands, but if you've never seen it and you're looking for a little crucible to sort of heat up your creative process, the Artist's Way is a great, it's not all the answer, but man, there's a lot of good technique in there.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I did in my sobriety was I started a podcast with my best friend who had 1 year more than I did, Jerry Webb Jr. and I, called A is for Alcoholic. And it really was just us sort of talking it out and figuring it out as we went along.
Yeah.
There was no expertise. There was no wisdom.
Yeah.
Other than just, this is our experience in this moment. And here's us fumbling. Here's us succeeding. Here's us failing.
Yeah.
And I was writing some stuff to go along with the episodes, and it kind of started from there.
Yeah.
And forever working on the memoir, which is all kind of culminated, the big fish, which is culminated in this thing that I'm here to talk about now, which was put together by my good friend, Jessica Levy. She wrote an amazing book called The Quiet Realm, about doors and portals and all kinds of cool stuff.
I'm into portals, dude. I like that.
You would love this book called The Quiet Realm.
Sweet.
Her and Ophelia Books in Seattle, my old neighborhood of Fremont, put on these workshops for the summer. So I'm doing one called Writing in Recovery.
Yeah.
And this is just basically dealing with the beginning struggles and ongoing struggles and difficulties and even challenges and the joys of being sober and going through any sort of process of recovery and self-discovery, as they like to say. And so I'm doing a 2-hour course about beginning in journaling and just giving you some tips and some tricks, not only about journaling, but also some style stuff for writing and some different things that have absolutely helped me on my way to be better than I was.
Mm-hmm.
Even just a year ago, I'm better than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes from consistently being in the book and writing.
Mm-hmm. I noticed in the title, it's Writing in Recovery, Finding Creativity and Sobriety. And it made me think, and I think I have heard this before, but, sometimes when we step out of the scene, you don't have the, drugs and alcohol expanded me creatively, no question. We look at art,
Yes.
and we can see like, wow, look at all of the sort of like, just amazing creativity that can kind of be burgeon from, the use of substances and other things, whatever it might be to put yourself into a vision. You can also become, you're sort of reliant on it. It's sort of the fuel of it. And if you don't have it, all of a sudden you think, oh, my art process, I'm not interesting anymore. I don't have any. Is that something that kind of came up in you in the first years of your sobriety?
100%.
Yeah.
When you expand and then it explodes and then you have to try to put it all back together.
Yeah.
I was uncertain as to whether or not I would be able to be interestingly creative,
Mm-hmm.
fulfillingly creative, or just creative at all,
Mm-hmm.
that anything would come, because where would my inspiration go if I
Right.
didn't have this?
Yeah.
Turns out it was there all along. It just needed a little more, it just needed a little coaxing.
Mm-hmm.
It needed some practice. I mean, this is where it comes into is just practicing, practicing, practicing. And I've been writing, like I said, that's 6 years straight,
Mm-hmm.
nonstop, every single day. And even if I missed a day, go back. Why'd you miss that day? What did you forget that morning? What kept you distracted or busy?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So,
and
so this is a one-time workshop, but
mhm.
and you kind of send them off with homework and say, get ready for part two once you hit that wall.
Well,
Yeah.
If I can fill out this class, if
Yeah.
I can get enough folks to join me, then I'm sure I'll be invited back by Ophelia's for a part two. So
Mhm.
it's a 2-hour course: writing in recovery, finding creativity in sobriety, and that could be sobriety from anything. It doesn't have to be alcohol. That
Right.
just happens.
Right.
Thing.
I thank you. It's kind of a follow-up question I was going to say. There's just not only is it drugs and alcohol, sometimes there's other things, and just things that we start to identify with that, like my creativity and this go together. And if I don't have this, I don't have my art. I don't have myself. And
Recovery from your ego, even.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. You start to dig down and find those sort of obstacles, in the process. Where's Ophelia's at?
Ophelia's is in Seattle,
Okay,
Washington.
you mentioned that.
I lived there for many, many
Yeah.
years,
Mhm.
and I have a lot of connections up there
Mhm.
uh, in the Fremont neighborhood.
And this
And
course will take place virtually.
online.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So online, you can go to opheliasbooks.com and go through their workshop and classes area and register there.
Do they have their own
And
interface, or do you use Zoom, or what's the?
so we're going to use Zoom,
Yeah.
and I will meet you there on the Zoom link
Right.
on June 23rd at 4 p.m. So that's a Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
You
nice.
got nothing else going on. If you're interested in trying something new and maybe learning a little bit about yourself, I promise there won't be that much homework, but we are going to do some. We're going to do some writing exercises. We're going to talk about narrative nonfiction, memoir writing, a little bit of poetry. So it's part journaling and also part writing exercises and talking about style and structure and things like that.
You and I was trying to kind of rope you in, and we've been kicking around the ideas like, can we have a show about sobriety? Like right here in the middle of the wine country. Is it? And you were like, is it interesting? Like we were kind of like, well, how, do people really want to see it?
Yeah.
Like like the community that of folks who are in recovery, there's a lot of privacy there. There's a lot of like, you guys turn to each other, and, there's a certain amount of, you want it to be insular because it can be, people are at different points on that journey. But, like you said, sobriety, it's not just alcohol, or it's not just drugs and alcohol. It's other sober thinking. I mean, there's all kinds of hooks out here. So, but what I was leaning to, John, as I continue to try to rope you in, I do think there's an interesting, package here, even if it's a little spotlight. I'd love to see what your writers come up with down the way. Then maybe we can have another conversation after everybody digs into that process and creates a little bit with it. We can kind of chat about it. I think that would be really interesting.
I'm game. I'm totally game. I would love to come on and talk about it and see what people have come up with, and also just what can be done with it.
Yeah.
And share with people the kinds of things, because self-discovery is also a lot of self-excavation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's dental tools and digging a hole in the mountain. It takes a long time.
Oh, your dentist analogy just made it not fun for me anymore.
Well, I'm not trying to undersell this thing at all, but
yeah.
It's part
no,
that,
I hear you.
but
I hear you.
The rewards
Mm-hmm.
are above and beyond anything I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the thing to remember when things get uncomfortable or difficult, that the rewards on the other side of that are well worth the time and the work.
So this workshop, might be for you, listener, or it might be for someone who's in, crisis or looking for a way, to sort of bolster and support their sobriety, their recovery. So you want to make note of it. So John, let folks know how to find the workshop, give them the website, and also how to connect with you, because I want people to harass John about our show that we're going to create. And if you think it would be interesting for us to have a show about that, go to John's Facebook page and harass him. So how do they harass you, John?
Yes. So the class is at opheliasbooks.com. Also, you can find it on all of my social medias. So you'll find me at Sonic John 000. That was my old DJ name, was nice. Sonic John.
Nice.
That's on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on probably Pinterest, all of the above.
Right.
Threads, any of those things, Sonic John 000. And honestly, if you're not interested in the class and you're interested in sobriety, you can send me a message as well. I'm happy to talk about that. Right. Like whoever you are.
You've always been very generous with your time for folks with questions, and real patient with that. Even when we're in the revolving door of sober and not. You've been a great friend to a lot of folks. I've watched that over our years.
People have been generous with me, and it's important to give it back.
So you kind of switching gears from the workshop, you live here in town, you work over in Glen Ellen.
I do. So like any good writer, I wait tables. Yep. And I work up at the Glen Ellen Star, which, if you know, is a amazing, lovely, well lauded restaurant.
Yes.
I would say the jewel of Sonoma County, but I might be a little biased.
I wanted you to get a mention in about that, because not only, if folks, if you haven't been out there, you're missing out. And then number two, John's a great waiter, and he'll really take care of you over there. So, and you can just totally harass him there too, where he's trying to wait on all his tables, try to have full on conversations with him. And, while he's trying to serve all his guests.
Exactly. If you don't want to take the class, I've got I have a tip line for you if you want to help support me. So that's always available at the restaurant.
For sure. So give the info one more time, John.
All right. opheliasbooks.com, workshops and classes, or Sonic John 000, anywhere on the internet. Just Google that and you'll find me, and you can contact me.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait I wish you great success, and I certainly hope that what we kind of talked about, whether it's, if some folks are open after the process, sort of they work it through a little bit, let's get together and kind of talk about that workshop and that working through and see how the processes went. I think that would be really interesting for folks.
Absolutely, and I owe you a short stack.
Yeah, let's go hit Creekside and have a short stack. I'll take you up on that for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. John Staley, he is a podcaster and a writer, a social influencer, and he's also a server out there at Glen Ellen Star if you want to go say hi to him. June 23rd, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's an online workshop, all skill levels for adults 18 and plus, writing and recovery, finding creativity and sobriety. Just search for John Staley on your favorite social media, you'll probably find me there too.